Hello and welcome to All the Pies YouTube channel. My name's Kev, that's Davy, and you're joining with tonight to look back at the game against Burnley on Saturday, which was another win, and what is going to be a historic night. I seem to be saying that a lot, Davy, recently. As Newcastle
Historic.
United, yeah, historic. As Newcastle United are about to take on just a small team, just Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. Let's get into it.
God, he scored so many goals.
Aye,
Right, eh?
not bad. Aye, I spent all day searching around the house for stuff. My mate contacted us earlier and he says he's after two kites and some glow sticks. Apparently, Sunderland are wanting to do a demonstration on Friday night before their game, and I've been searching all over the place.
2 kites and glow sticks. Get as a kite here because I've just had me tea. I've got a kite going on down here if you need that.
No, that's reference to obviously. Are you not see? Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it, man.
I'm not on a good now.
Because you've been all over the place tonight. They've had the demonstration of all of the things above St James's Park with the 500 drones with the lights, with all the light show. Have you not seen it?
I've seen a light show. I didn't know there was a demonstration. No.
Oh, it was on
mean,
tonight. It was it was on tonight. There was loads of people watching it, and I was thinking, oh, great, I'll go along, and we'll watch it.
But
then we couldn't do flaming podcast because you got stuck. So
that was my fault.
No, it's sorry. I saw it on YouTube anyway. But no,
I seen it on YouTube.
That was my little joke saying Sunderland have ordered 2 kites and 5 glow sticks for their
2 kites and 5 glow sticks. Nah, they'd still find a way to mess it up. It still wouldn't be as good as ours, would it?
No.
Well, I've never stopped, Davy. Honestly, I've been grafting away. I had to take the band to football the night. Started playing for Whitley Bay. So went and watched that train, and then went from that train to waiting for a train for like 40 minutes nearly.
Aye, not good.
In the middle of North Shields. So that was alright. Then I got back and I was consoled though by a nice Chinese. So I do like a takeaway. Hence the kite as well.
Very nice.
So other than Davy, it's a Saturday night. The tune's just won. You come here, you're fancying to sell a takeaway. What's being ordered in the Craig household? What do you go for? What do you go to in the Chinese?
Chinese. Chow mein, king prawn chow mein, and black bean sauce.
Oh, aye. See, I like mine really salty, so I like salt and pepper chicken, and I've got to go for the salt and chili pepper chips as well. And you'll always find some noodles on my plate as well. God, I'm so greedy. But the weekend was another 3 points for Newcastle United, so we'll have a little bit of a talk about that. But before we do, I've got one question for you, Davy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure you're ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so it was a 3 o'clock kickoff. First one of the season, Saturday afternoon. It felt weird. It felt strange being everything just felt it was like a little bit early because I'm so used to late kickoffs now. Like
I know.
I had stuff to do on the Saturday morning, and the time just flew. And before I knew it, I was walking up to the ground. But different time, same result.
Well, we normally go a good few hours early and do a collection for the food bank, but my back's just been really bad, so it felt weird. It was the first time since before lockdown where we've gone to a match and just gone straight to the match without going for the collection. So I missed all the people that I like to see and chat to, and people that come and pop money in the bucket and all that kind of stuff. So that was a big miss, but got to the match and I felt guilty because I thought, I'm kind of just about okay to go to the match. I was in agony all day Sunday after it, like, but yeah, I felt bad with not being able to do the collection, but I'm just hoping I'm going to be okay to go to the match on Wednesday, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Aye.
I got 9 out of the 11 of their team right, but more importantly, I got the score spot on.
You did? Did you get the scorers right as well?
No,
I couldn't remember who you picked. I was at the game. I was like, oh.
I picked
Look.
Bruno and Wilson, but Wilson, of course, didn't play because,
No.
yeah, we didn't know. We knew he might have a hamstring the way that he was taken off straight away. I nearly said pulled off, but that's something different. Taken off straight away as soon as he'd
Aye.
scored, and his hand touched his hamstring, and he was taken straight off. And I thought, oh, I hope that's not a bad one. I hope it's just he might just had a tweak, but he looks like he's going to be out for a while, so it's not good, especially with the matches coming up that we've got. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
on Saturday, I mean, like, well, I had a quid on Almiron 3-0, and I thought we were going to get it, but it did. I wasn't. It was against the run of play, really, the first goal, because I thought Burnley up until that point, the first 10, 15 minutes or so, looked the better team and probably looked a little bit more likely to score without being really dangerous in the final third. I thought they gave a good account of themselves for the first 10, 15 minutes or so.
Well, I disagree slightly. Partly, I think we basically started off quite steady, and we were just a bit nonchalant with it. And then on 4 minutes, Dan Burns slipped, and Koleosho got in. Everybody's piling back to try and stop him. Shea come across, but then he managed to get the ball across to Amdoni, and he hit it first time with his right foot, and he kind of hit it well, but he hit it straight. The keeper, he was on the penalty spot, and really he should have scored. And they had one other opportunity after that. And I know what you mean. Like they looked okay. They looked as they come down that wing again against Dan Burn. I thought that's what they're going to target, because that winger looked pretty nippy. And but I wasn't. It was weird because I just didn't feel concerned. I just didn't think I had enough.
I wasn't worried. Like, I wasn't worried.
I just thought I just hope this is one of those where we get the first goal, because teams like that, they can always nick one, and of course on 14 minutes, Amdoni, the same player who'd missed that opportunity, he came deep to pick up a throw in. He hid it across the other side of the pitch for Ramsey. And he just took an age to bring it down. It bounced. He didn't control it, and it bounced. And he tried to control it in his chest, and he turned really slowly. I kind of turn at all because my back's gonna kind of try and do it. But Trippier just pounced on him, and just that little touch, he was like, "Right, I've got you, mate." And nicked it through to Miggy, and then the rest was just Miggy at his best. Fantastic strike. And
it was poor by Ramsey. It was really poor because like he just seemed to dawdle on it for an absolute age. And I mean, Trippier had time to appeal, look at the referee, still get up to him, and still get the tackle in. It was you don't get that many. You don't get that much time in the Premier League, and you certainly don't get it at St James's Park against Newcastle United.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought we had kind of tried to do, and up until that point, and it continued throughout the match, was that press that I love to see from Newcastle. Really strong high press. And when we do press like that and we do win the ball back, it's so quick. And Miguel Almiron, he only scores worldies, man. He only scores worldies.
Yeah, I mean that
great scorer of goals, a scorer of great goals.
I mean, you hear it right in the top corner, and I'm going to call him Young Trafford. See what I did there? He didn't have any chance at all, really. But 22 yards, I think, roughly. It was a perfect strike. Lovely, lovely left foot. A little bit of a dink on it, as well as, slightly swerved and just looped into that top corner. It was brilliant, and it
He's
just
scored
felt,
a few like that, hasn't he? I
yeah.
remember one against Everton that was quite similar. He scored a one. Who was it? The other one against? I'm
Oh,
not sure. It was
don't ask me. You know,
as
I
well.
can never remember.
And it wasn't too dissimilar, the sort of curling it to the one against Crystal Palace, although the
Yeah.
build-up was completely different.
Yeah,
Because in the Palace one, that was a lovely bit of individual play.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
on this one, it's the second it left his foot, you just knew where it was going.
Yeah.
And I do think it was slightly against the run of play at that stage. But then after that, it just became a little bit, well, the word I kept using, Davy, and afterwards is routine. That's what it felt like.
Well,
Felt a bit.
it
felt
seemed
quite
easy. I mean, I got a message after the match, and my mate said it was a 2-0 battering. And I thought, yeah, he's right. You know, we didn't score loads and loads of goals, but we just totally controlled the game. It just seemed easy from then on. I mean, there were some great moves, you know. I mean, on 27 minutes, Miggy played the ball inside to Bruno, and he did that little dinky spin pass. He played it. He didn't put as much height on it. He kind of played it through for Isak, and it fell perfectly for Isak, who was already on the move, because he knew he was going to do it. You just know for a fact, if you watch it, you can see Isak's already moving before before he gets the ball, because he knows what he's going to do. But his touch was just a tiny little bit too heavy, and it allowed the keeper to just get a touch on it. It bounced up, and people were saying that, oh, he should have still scored. Like, but if you look at it, he would have had to. Well, it bounced behind him, so he would have had to dislocate his knee and his hip for to get his leg around it. You know, I think Asprilla is the only player that I've ever seen that could probably do that, because he always looked like he did dislocate his knee when he was doing stuff. But it was really difficult for to do, you know, get the ball the way it had bounced behind him, because his run had took him just in front of the ball the way it bounced, and it was just really unfortunate. But
yeah, I mean, it was a rare heavy touch from Isak that
yeah,
just and you know, you can allow him that, because he'd done a really good job to get into the position to be through on goal in that one anyways.
Yeah.
And like a touch, then it was a definite goal. But like you say, once the keeper's sort of parried it out to his right hand side, again, he's done well to even get across to it, because like you say,
Yeah.
it's bobbled up in a really awkward position. I think he probably, you know, probably still could have scored it.
He could have.
The
It was
fact that he got
just.
his
It was
leg
just.
onto it, but
Yeah.
I'm right behind that goal, and I wasn't like, oh, he's missed an open goal. I thought, oh, actually, that's a lot more difficult than it probably
Yeah.
looks.
If you watch it again, you'll see how difficult it actually was for him to get his leg round it with the position that he found himself in, and it was just unfortunate, I thought. But then again, we just controlled it. They just didn't look like they were doing anything. And then on 34 minutes, there was, for me, it was just pure genius. It was just, if we'd scored, it would have been one of the goals of the season for me. And everything about it was fantastic. It was just my favorite move, probably of the season so far. And it's just such a shame it didn't end in a goal. But it started with Shea, and he played the ball across to Trippier. And Miggy had come deep. He was about 10 yards inside his own half to kind of offer himself to Trippier. But Trippier saw a tiny gap. There were two players. There was a player coming to him, and there was a player just off about 10, 15 yards ahead. And there was a tiny little gap, and he played a perfect ball through the two of them. And he got it to Isak. And Isak had, again, he just come back into his own half just very slightly and kind of offered himself, knowing, you know, there was that little tiny little bit space that he found himself in. But at that point, Longstaff did what he always does, is as soon as the ball had come to Trippier, he starts making a diagonal run. And he started running from 15 yards inside his own box, and he just kept going and kept going. And the ball comes back off Isak, because the the fullback is now looking and thinking, oh, hang on, Longstaff's making the run, and I've got Almiron here as well. So he starts to turn. Almiron holds his position, offers himself to Isak, who's getting, there's a guy right on him, and he just plays the ball simply to Miggy. And Longstaff continues his run, and Miggy, one touch with his right just to settle it, and then he hits a left-footed ball through to Trippier, to Longstaff. And he's on his bike by this time, and the ball's perfect. And he looks up at that moment when he's got the ball under control, and he sees that Gordon and Anderson are both hurtling towards the Burnley goal. So he takes the ball a bit further, and he gets right on the corner of the 18-yard box. Now, Gordon has made a really clever run into the near post, and he drags the defender
through
with him. And he looks again, and Elliot Anderson's waving at Longstaff. I'm here. he's coming running.
Isn't he?
He's like, hey, mate, I'm out here.
His taxi, he's got his kebab, he's ready to go home.
And it's just perfect. The little dinky pass over the top of them, right onto the edge of the 6-yard box, and Anderson comes diving at it. And you'd think he was one of the lads diving in Milan, down the street the other week, the way that he did it, But and it was an excellent header. He didn't get that much power on it, but there wasn't much power on the cross. It was just perfect.
Ball,
the thing was, I think the keeper deserves credit, because the keeper's at his near post. He sees what's happening, and he turns and he basically starts running across, and he does a star, and it just hits. He's basically coming flying across it, and it just hits his trailing leg, and he saves it. And
I thought it was a really good save, to be honest. The move,
it was
the goal, and I really wanted Anderson to get a goal, because I thought he would really got himself into the game at that point as well. And like you said, it was a good header. He wasn't the most powerful, but the keeper does deserve a lot of credit. I mean, quite knackily at this, but it did.
He just made himself big.
Peter Schmeichel-esque save, where Peter Schmeichel used to do it all the time, where he'd try and make himself as big as possible if he thought there was a sure goal, and thinks to himself, hopefully it comes off one of my limbs. And even then, the ball still nearly went in, and it took a clear line to stop it. And there was a little stage at that stage, I was thinking to myself, oh, we've had quite a few chances now. We probably should be
I know what you're
going to say. This stage.
Yeah.
And I wasn't worried at any stage. I still felt we're definitely still going to go on to win the game, but it creeps into your mind, doesn't it? Where you think, I hope we don't rue all these missed chances. I hope.
Well, it's like Liverpool. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, but you always want that second goal, because you just think they're going to get a chance, and they did. They got a chance later on, but we were already 2 goals up by then. I mean.
That takes with a half time, and that was the conversation I heard quite a bit down in when I was supping me pint of Guinness. I was by myself, so I was just sort of eavesdropping on other people's conversations, and the general consensus was that there was no real concern, but hopefully the missed chances wouldn't come back to bite with. Now, when we went into the second half, I thought we pretty much picked up where we left off. I don't know. I feel like we did have other gears that we could have went into. We were dominating the game without really dominating it, if you know what I mean. I felt like
I know what you're saying.
It picked it up another gear.
You know what I felt? Sorry, Kev, but you know what I felt, and I was exactly the same. And I worried because of the fact that we didn't have Wilson there, because of the fact that there was other players that were missing, and I thought, are the players on the pitch kind of just holding back that little touch because they're worried about getting injuries themselves, or burning out because we haven't got the depth? We didn't have the players to come on, and then that's what I felt. I'm not saying that they're not going to be given 100%.
Oh, like I say,
It just
we
didn't. It
dominated
didn't
the
feel like they
game.
were like really bombing for it and going for a goal. You know, it was like,
I felt if it had been 0-0 or if it even had been 1-0 down, they probably could have then went on to do that.
oh
I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
maybe he's. I don't like saying this, but possibly maybe he's half an eye on the Wednesday night, saying,
yeah,
"Hang on, we need to keep a little bit of juice in the tank here."
yeah, yeah,
But that was enough. That was enough. I thought. I always felt like a second and possibly a third goal was coming. At no stage did I really think to myself, "Oh, we need to step it up. We need to step it up." We're comfortable on the ball, and when they did have the ball, the small times they did have the ball, the press continued to press really,
yeah,
really well. And I felt like that's when they were getting the bursts of energy. When they were closing the ball down, I felt like that's when they were choosing to exert the energy. Whereas when they had the ball, I felt that they were quite content just to pass it about and not really be under any kind of pressure and make them run about and run after the ball, which
yeah.
I've got no problem with. But yeah, the actual second goal, the people next to me were saying it wasn't a penalty. From where I was, it looked like a
Oh
blatant
yeah,
penalty, stonewall penalty. And I know he gets a little bit of the ball, he does, but he has to go through the player to get the
yeah,
ball.
yeah, yeah.
And when I was
It was
watching the
awful
highlights
defending.
back as well, the commentator, he even didn't. He thought it was a good tackle as well. But when I watched it back, I was like, nah, my
No, it was
eyes
a
must be getting
penalty.
better because it looked stonewall from right the other end of the pitch.
Trippier's 40-yard header clearance that basically put that defender into trouble. What did they call him? Al Dakil.
Al
The header that Trippier put in, he just couldn't do anything with it, and he headed it into Gordon's path. I don't know. He just didn't look. He panicked, and then of course Gordon just runs into the box and ran across him, and it was definitely a penalty. I mean, you know, there was no two ways about it.
I'm interested in what you've picked up on there because you know the Alexander Isak goal against I think it was Aston Villa. Um, it was Aston Villa. Yeah, it was where the player plays himself into trouble. It's because we've got so much momentum coming down that left
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
side, whether it's Isak, whether it's Anthony Gordon, and I think defenders think to themselves, "I can't make a mistake. I can't make a mistake," which sometimes puts them into a mistake.
yeah,
And the energy and the transitions when you've been putting a bit of a press on, and you can see the mistake coming, and when the mistake does come, we're so quick onto the ball
yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make it count. And once he did that header, that floppy header back, it was like a salmon rising out of the water, wasn't he?
yeah,
Gordon was always going to be causing them trouble, and then you're already trying to think to yourself, "Oh shit, I've just made a mistake. I've got
yeah,
him in." Your mind's not in the game, and yeah, when you've got the likes of Anthony Gordon bombing at you,
yeah. And
yeah,
then he made a worse
it's
mistake
easy
and
on the
gave the
penalty.
penalty. And then Isak just showed the type of player he is. It was just so nonchalant. He just stroked
Wasn't
it
it?
in. It was just, yeah, it was brilliant. And
It was cool.
I think it kind of summed up the whole game, the way he scored that penalty. It was like we just didn't feel that there was much pressure, really. I mean, there was a moment because they brought on Brun Larson, and there was another guy came on, Odebeer, and he looked pretty good on that left side, quick, but Trippier didn't seem too bothered. Brun Larson turned Burn, really good turn, and got ahead of him. But they had one opportunity, really. They didn't really threaten. But I tell you what, I was trying to think of who was man of the match, and I picked Longstaff. I know most people went for either Isak or Gordon or Trippier. I thought the midfield were absolutely magnificent. They were absolutely brilliant, and Longstaff just looks class. And I keep saying the runs off the ball that he does that people don't notice, and the way he gets stuck in, but his touch and his passes and his intelligence, he's grown in it, you know, into the side. And I think we look a better side when he plays. And the only
I
thing we
agree with
haven't
you.
mentioned was the substitution that we made.
Yeah, I was just about to go on to that because that's probably the one bad thing that came from the game because yeah, Joe Linton came on. What was he on? 60 seconds, 2 minutes
He
maximum,
was on 3 minutes, I think, in
3
total.
minutes,
3 minutes,
and
yeah.
you knew when he went down that he was
Yeah.
in trouble. And the injuries are starting to they're starting to add up now a little bit on the you know in certain areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
The knocks are starting to come now, and it is a little bit worrying. But that was really upsetting for me because I feel like we're
I
going to
think he
need
would
him.
have,
We're going to
yeah,
need him.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Tonali came on and Tonali looked really classy, looked smooth. And again, when Bruno's playing in the middle and Longstaff's on one side, Tonali looks really good on that side and he gets a little bit further forward. And, you know, Gordon looked great. But again, the other thing that happened in the match was Gordon got booked for kicking the ball away. And he made it look as if he hadn't heard the whistle. And I thought, everybody else had stopped. And I thought, is he trying to be funny? Is he trying to be clever? Or did he genuinely not hear it? But you're always going to get booked for them. And he's going to miss at the weekend now because of that. So I think Murphy will come in and he'll do a job probably, and then you've got Almiron as well. And even Richie. For the other side, but we've got a lot of injuries, so missing him against West Ham. I know we're not talking about that yet,
Yeah,
but he's going to be a big miss. He's
it's
just
going to
got
be
to
a
be.
big
He's got
miss.
to be careful. Five bookings in those first few games is a lot of bookings. Like so,
But
but yeah,
to finish it off, the Burnley game on a positive, another clean sheet,
yeah,
another
yeah,
clean sheet, and
yeah,
I wasn't unimpressed by Lascelles at all. I thought he had a really good game. He just
yeah,
there was a couple. I think there was one moment where he made a little bit of a slip up, and my heart was in my mouth. But apart from that, I thought he played alongside Fabian Shaw really well.
yeah.
So it's
Cheers, class. Like he's just class on the ball, and he steps into midfield and he gives that extra little. It was just a really excellent performance throughout the whole team. It was like a 2-0 battering, it was a demolition. But yeah, but then
I mean that's it. I mean, I think the important thing as well is the momentum. The momentum
yeah,
at the minute seems to be definitely heading in the right direction, and we're going to need momentum and a little bit more because Wednesday night, the moment we've all been waiting for. I mean, how many times last season did you think about it? Like, going through the season, trying not to get carried away, trying to keep your
yeah,
feet on the ground, but in the back of your mind thinking, I could be hearing that Champions League music at St James's
yeah,
Park next season.
we could see him, but
At
I
times it
remember
felt
thinking,
close, at times it felt too far away. On Wednesday, it becomes a reality because Newcastle United play the first home Champions League game against none other than Paris Saint-Germain. How excited are you, Davy? How excited are you?
I keep saying that there are moments like this. Like I said in the We Are the Geordies movie, I chase moments of euphoria in life, and regardless, this is just the occasion. It's the whole thing, the occasion. It's just everything leading up to it. It's just what dreams are made of, really. And if he plays Murphy, which I think he will do, his reaction when he was standing in the lineup in Milan, I don't know what it's going to be like if he's in the lineup to start at St James's Park against Mbappe and all the rest of the players they've got. But it's just I look around at like social media, and there were people talking about it on Saturday, and knowing how I felt when I was a 6-year-old, and I still feel like that 6-year-old kid at times like this, where it's like all your Christmases come together. and it's just magical. It's just, there's people all over the world are going to, tuning in to watch this game. I just hope we give a good account of ourselves. And I am concerned that we have got some injuries, but I think the players that we've got available will just go for it. And I think Eddie Howe's he's instilled this confidence, and it's like a steadiness, where they're doing what they need to do, and the way they press, the way they work. I honestly think PSG are going to find themselves in a real game, and they're going to think, "Whoa, what's going on here?" They're going to have to be at the top of their game. They really are, But I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. My back's not been great, and I just hope I don't. I had a couple of setbacks today, and that was the first thing I thought of. Not like, oh, my back, blah blah blah. It's like, I don't want to miss Wednesday night. I mean, but I cannot wait. You've gone quiet, Kev. I cannot hear you.
Hit the mute button. Sorry about that. I was talking away there. If I know you, Davy, you'll get there hella high water. You'll make sure you're there. Well, I mean, you look at everybody knows PSG are a absolutely huge club, a top team in world football that can go toe to toe with any team. But when you look at the season that they're having so far, so I mean, obviously I don't watch League On week in, week out, mainly because it's a farmers league. But yeah, I mean, I was having a look at their results coming into this. So I mean, it's a mixed bag. Some draws and defeats in there. They drew 0-0 with Lorient. They've drew 1-1 with Toulouse. They got beat off Nice. Now I think Nice are actually top of their league, to be honest. So I mean, there's probably no shame in that. But they played Clermont Foot. Sounds like a sort of disease you would get in the World War, wouldn't it? I've got a bit of Clermont Foot. Clermont Foot, some sort of cream. But yeah, and when I was having a little look through that, apparently the fans weren't too happy about that. Well, not just the result, but the actual performance.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything in the Champions League. You can never rest on your laurels. And Newcastle United, if they want to get anything out of this game, are going to have to be on the very top of the game, and everybody's going to have to perform well.
Yeah. I've looked at the formations, and they've chopped and changed. And they started off where Mbappe didn't play because he didn't have much of a pre-season because of all the contract controversy and things like that. And you just wonder, is his head like in it fully? Do you know what I mean? And you want to see the best players come here. Like some people were saying, like, oh, he's got a knock and he might not play. I hope he plays, because you want to see those players at St. James's Park, but you want to see them and we want to beat them. We don't just want to see them and it be a spectacle and them absolutely stuffed with. But I think it's been really interesting because Luis Enrique, who was the guy that I couldn't think of, who was at Barcelona when we played Barcelona back in 97, 98. And I always wanted Newcastle to try and sign him to play alongside Shearer. I thought the two would have been brilliant. Anyway, he's their manager now. And I've got a lot of time for Luis Enrique. He comes across as a really genuinely lovely bloke. But in terms of what he's doing at PSG, I'm not certain that he knows his best team and his best formation, because he started 4-3-3 and then he changed to a 3-4-3, and he's gone back to a 4-3-3 and then back to a 3-4-3. But I reckon because he played a 4-3-3 against Dortmund, and because we play 4-3-3, I think he'll be looking to go toe to toe. And I've picked the team based on that. The team that I think he'll pick. But you just see the players that they've got, and you think, whoa, it's going to be a hell of a game. But do you want us to go through my
It
team?
is. Well, I was having a little look at their team as well because I mean, they're all superstars, but I mean they've got a few injuries themselves, haven't they? I know Nuno Mendes, he's got a hamstring injury. He picked that up in
Yeah,
February, and he's not going to due back until May, almost a year. That's some
really,
hamstring
for a
injury. That,
hamstring.
yeah, Sergio Rico, he's got a brain hemorrhage. Sad
Oh,
that I didn't
dear
realise
me.
that, the goalkeeper. Yeah. Well, this is according to the transfer market website.
Yeah,
And Marcus Asensio, he's out as well, the left winger. So no Asensio.
yeah.
And I was obviously having a little look at some of the predicted teams. So one of the predicted teams I saw, which probably sounds probably about right, it is a strong team. Like so. I had a little look on Sportsmall, and they seem to think it might be Donnarumma in goal.
Mm-hmm.
Hakimi, Marquinhos, Skriniar, and Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the midfield, they've gone for Vitinha, Ugarte, Ziri, Emery, and Dembele, with Koulibaly and Mbappe. Oof.
That's
Dembele,
basically
Koulibaly, and Mbappe. That is.
that's basically the same as me. The only thing that I've put in, I've gone 4-3-3, and I've got a feeling he might play Danilo, the Portuguese guy, instead of Marquinhos. But I mean, they've got Hakimi, the Moroccan lad. He's cracking player. Skriniar, the Slovakian. Hernandez is tremendous for France. Vitinha, another Portuguese. You got the Uruguay midfielder. He's like a proper holding midfielder. Dembele, as you say, but Dembele hasn't scored for them. I don't know whether he has at all, but
Really?
he hasn't. I don't know that he has, to be honest. I couldn't find anything. I might be wrong, but and Mbappe, of course, everybody knows about him. But Kolo Muani, he was in France and he went to Eintracht Frankfurt and he scored a lot of goals in that one season, and enough for PSG to say, right, we're getting him, and they paid a hell of a lot of money for him, even though they had stolen Ekitike from under our noses. Well, he's
Keep him.
I think he's going to something like Crew Alexander. I heard it might be gone there, but the lad, the one lad that I'm interested, and I think they will play him, is Zai Emery, and he's a 17-year-old kid,
17, aye.
17-year-old. You know what I mean? But I had a little look on a couple of clips, and he looks a decent player, mind. 17-year-old lad, and he's been in the French under 21s. But they've got class all the way through that side. I'm not certain they will play Marquinhos. I think they might go for Danilo, but I've gone for basically the same team.
I mean, you're right. There's class right the way through it, and there's a balance. I mean, there's some really experienced players for this type of stage. Your Mbappe's, Dembele's, but I do like the fact that they have got the Zaire Emery's as well, which are
Yeah,
little unknowns. It just looks like a good balance, and
yeah.
it got us a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest. When I looked at that team, I thought, "Oh, that's a good team." That,
But this is what you
but
expect. You expect
exactly,
them,
that's just what I was about to say, Davey. This is what you've got to expect when you're playing the Champions League, and you want to be pitched against the better teams. You want to, and I think when you play these types of teams, it makes you a better team. When we
yeah,
came away from the AC Milan game, I felt we came back a better team than we
yeah.
were
It was like the
prior to
chest
playing the
swab
game.
out, wasn't it? They'd been in that game, and it's like, I think the whole waiting for it, and there's a psychological aspect of that's in the back of their mind who have played those couple of games. And I do wonder, especially the Brighton game, whether that affected them a little bit. But that's done now, that they're in there. They've experienced it. They'll experience it a different kind of atmosphere on Wednesday night. But who have you gone for your team, Newcastle?
Well, you're taking into account injuries. I've obviously
Yeah.
picked Pope at the back. Trippier's a shoe in. Shaw's a shoe in. if Botman's better,
I don't think he's
going to
going
be
to
out.
be. I
Is he
don't
out?
think
Is
he's
he?
going to be. From what I've
And
seen, I mean, I might be wrong, but from what I've read, and I don't think he's going to risk him.
in which case, it's going to be Lascelles, which makes us a little bit worried. Although I was just singing his praises before, playing playing at centre back against Burnley is different to playing centre back against
Yeah,
the
Kolo
might of Paris
Muani and
Saint-Germain.
Mbappe. Yeah, I know.
Makes us a little bit scared, to be honest. But yeah, it'll be him with Dan Burn at left back. I would be going for the same midfield three.
I've
Well,
got
I
a
don't know.
feeling.
I'm toying
I've
with
got
the
a.
idea because I don't know if he might play that midfield three, but with Tonali as well. And I've been chopping and changing me mind with this because I was thinking to myself,
Do you mean in a
will it give her a bit
4-4-2?
more? Yeah, 4-4-2 almost. We're playing Andy Gordon and Isaac. But then at home, I think to myself, is that a good move? Is it not a good move? I guess it's out of fear. I guess I want that extra bit of protection if we do have to play Lascelles, and I think having both Bruno and Tonali playing alongside the likes of Longstaff and having Anderson in there as well is a bit of a workhorse in the middle probably makes us feel a little bit less, a little bit more calm in my mind. But then again, I think to myself, is that a lineup that's really going to go out and get you 3 points in that game? So
I think if he's well, I've gone for Bruno in the middle, Longstaff on the right, and Tonali on the left. I just got a feeling he's going to play Tonali now. I haven't thought about it, but what you're saying, because I've gone Gordon, Isak, and Murphy. That's where I think he'll play, and I think he'll do the 4-3-3. But what you're saying, what he could do, is play Bruno, Longstaff, and Tonali, but play Gordon on the right and play Anderson on the left, and then Anderson and Tonali can interchange, and it can become a 4-4-2 with Gordon coming inside a little bit. I don't know. I just don't think he might have done. I don't know. He might have tried that. I just think it's a little bit different. It's
too
a little bit
experimental
too different. And
too experimental for the Champions League.
I think when you're at home, I think we've got this settled 4-3-3, and we've got players that play well in it. The reason why I'd play Tonali, he's going to have to keep rotating, but I think Tonali is the player for these types of games. And I've just got a feeling that some of the teams in Europe, especially their midfield, they don't play as quickly as teams do in the Premier League. They're not on you the way that the teams in the Premier League are. Now, I know Milan were different, where they kind of man-marked people and they made it difficult. I don't think Paris Saint-Germain are going to do that. I think they're just going to go for it, and they're just going to try and play the ball through us, get the ball out wide to the two guys, and then bang inside. And then you've got these other players that can come through with Ugarte kind of holding everything in the middle. But I don't think they're going to be used to the way that we press teams. And I think that if we can manage to do that, but I think it only works if we play that 4-3-3.
Yeah, the press does. I agree. The press does.
It
I mean,
depends on
I think
whether
that's
they
when
go
we're
three.
strongest, isn't it? When we press like that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the game at the weekend. I thought we pressed in that game better than we probably have all season.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Newcastle United play that way. I love seeing a really high, intense press.
Yeah.
It really rattles teams and it puts them on the back foot. I just think if we press too hard, they do have the capability to play through it, and if we press too hard and they get through it and it leaves the likes of Lascelles exposed, it puts a little bit of fear in us with those forward, with that forward three, that it could leave a little bit open. So I think pressing at the correct times is what we need to do. I don't think trying to press the entire game is necessarily going to work, because I think they've probably got the players that eventually will figure it out and get through it. But definitely pressing at the correct times will be important. But
I'm expecting Hakimi to kind of come forward from that right back position and fit in, so they've got like that 4 across, so it changes to a 3-4-3. The one thing I don't think we'll see as much as we used to is Trippier bombing on, because he's got Mbappe, and especially if Lascelles is the one that's left there, you can't, you know, I mean, you cannot leave him unmarked at you know. I'm kind of tripping myself up with the things that I'm saying that we could do, but that again is why I think he might play Murphy, because of that same job that Murphy can do that he did in Milan, where he can get up and down and he's decent defending, you know. And if Trippier is coming forward, which he likes to do, then Murphy's the player that will cover him, and he's got pace to be able to get back if the ball does come out at Mbappe. Whereas I don't think Miggy naturally is going to do that, and that's why I think he'll play Murphy instead of Miggy. It's just there's so many variables of things that can happen in this game, and it's
going to be exciting.
Really
it's going to be
interesting.
exciting to see what happens. And look, we've been waiting 20 years for this. I'm nervous. I'm a bit scared, but I'm also really, really excited.
Yeah.
So now the question. What score are you going with?
Well, I've thought about it, and because I think we are going to be right in their faces and they are not going to expect it, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle. I think we could do something. I just don't think they're going to. Do you know what I mean? They're PSG. They're just going to come and do what they do.
Oh, you froze.
And I think that I think we're going to go for it, and I've got a feeling that we're going to beat them 2-1.
Well, Davey, I've tried not to think about it in terms of the scoreline because I don't know. Like I keep swinging. I'm like, right, be positive. We can go and get 3 points. That's what I am going to do. I'm also going to go with 2-1 as well. But there's also a part of us thinking to myself,
I know. Are you daft?
or like we said the last time, it could be it could be 0-0. It could be any score. So I'm going with 2-1 as well. Ever the optimist. I'm going to go for 2-1, and I'm going to go for goals for Isak and Gordon, just because they're both in great form. But it could be any score, and I guess this is part of the excitement. It's nice to go to a match not knowing what's going to happen. It really feels like a step into the unknown, for more reasons than just the fact that we don't play this team every week. What's the atmosphere going to be like? I'm excited to see what Wolf Flags have got up the sleeve, because I imagine they've probably got something pretty spectacular in store.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's going to be an absolute night to remember. Now, we are starting to run out of time. So what I do want to say is, again, as always, if you've gotten this far in the video, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Why not hit the like button so we can get our algorithm going? Drop a little comment. Get your scores in. Get your scores in. Give it a share so the like-minded fans can have a little watch of this as well.
Don't message me. Don't message me on social media. Put a comment in here.
Get a comment on there. Message him on social. Stop sliding Davy's DMs. Stop sliding in his DMs. But yeah, we'll be back after the game against Paris Saint-Germain, where we'll either have big smiles on our faces or we'll be crying into our cups of tea. But either way, we'll be back and we'll have a little chat about how the game went, and we'll also look ahead to the Premier League clash against West Ham at the weekend. But until then, enjoy the tomorrow. Will it be tomorrow? Maybe by tomorrow by the time this video gets out. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game.
We'll
see you during the week. Come on.